Today we're getting into it. Yeah, we are. So buckle up. Because today the theme is purpose. And how do you feel when you feel like you don't have one? And what do you do? And how do you think? And where do you move on from that? So let's get it rolling. I'm making this really lighthearted because I think this is a topic I heavily struggle with, and so I really wanted to sit down and talk about it because it has really been on my mind for months now, but specifically this week in the book I was reading. And I touched on this in my last video. I kind of did similarly to this, which was like my identity crisis video. Specifically when it comes to purpose, obviously identity and purpose go hand in hand, but what do you do when you don't know where to go? And I feel like I found myself in that position a handful of times, but specifically after post-grad and just next steps. Supposed to get a full-time job, and that is supposed to be your life. I think specifically is that pressure of you have to find something to tell people. And I had just been talking to my friend about this, and she had just recently graduated this past year. I graduated 2 years ago, but she graduated this past year, and she was saying how she doesn't really like to tell people what her next steps are, because when it comes to people older than you specifically, when they ask you what are you supposed to do, you're supposed to give them something with substance, something saying that I am doing this physically. It is an inadequate answer to say I am just living. I'm just hanging out, you know? I am just living my life. I'm figuring out who I am. And I think the beauty of being in your 20s is that you get to have that time and you get to enjoy just living. And I think that sometimes we take that and we don't really sit on it and marinate in it and really chew on what that means, because this point in your life, before you get a full-time job, before you commit to something, this is your time to figure out where you want to be, who you want to be, and what you want to be doing. And so I think it's so vital, and so many people basically just run through it and they're like, okay, like let me go get a job and like everything will be okay. But no, at the core of who you are at the end of the day, when you were sitting with yourself, how are you going to feel if you don't have that satisfaction that is coming from job, coming from money, coming from people, coming from everything else? Do you have that satisfaction within yourself that you know your purpose in this world? And so this man in this book, he ended up at Ruby Pier. He ended up at this place that he hated and he despised because he didn't want to be here. He wanted to travel the world. And what he defined as living was to leave the place that he grew up in. So he lives out his life at Ruby Pier, and he ends up dying there, and he wakes up in this kind of, I would say, medium place from leaving Earth and before entering heaven. And so he's at this place and he has to run into people there. And he says this: heaven, Eddie thought, ridiculous. He had spent most of his adult life trying to get away from Ruby Pier. It was an amusement park, that's all. A place to scream and get wet and trade your dollars for Koopy dolls. The thought that this was some kind of blessed resting place was beyond his imagination. And I sat there and I thought, I feel like a lot of times what we do is that we're trying to leave the exact place that we're meant to be. And at this time, he's talking to the first person he meets, and it's the blue man. His story is insignificant to what I'm about to say next. He's talking to the blue man, and when he gets there, he can't speak. This is the first person he meets in heaven. He's thinking the words, but no words are coming out of his mouth. And so the blue man says to him, your voice will come. We all go through the same thing. You cannot talk when you first arrived, he smiled. It helps you listen. And what I think stopped me there, because the first paragraph I told you caught me. This is the paragraph following that. And what got me and what kind of made me sit and think was sometimes the questions that I am asking and the questions that you are asking are being answered, but we are too talkative and we're using this little mouth way too much and speaking way too much that we aren't actually turning our ears on at all. If you have been asking this question for a long time about your life, maybe the answer is right in front of you. You just gotta open up your ears. And this is a lesson for you and me, because I've asked the same amount of questions thousands and thousands and thousands of times. To further open up and tell you a little bit more about my aspirations is that I write. I love to write. I think it is my biggest creative outlet ever, and I'm writing 2 books right now, and it's thrilling and exciting and it's fun, and I'm making these YouTube videos, and I'm learning how to edit, and I'm on TikTok, and I'm doing all of these creative things, and I'm pushing my creative boundaries and letting the juices flow, and I'm finding all these new ideas and new videos and content and different styles of editing to do, and it's fun. But then I tell people about it, and they're just like, oh, your little thing. No, babe. No, it's not a little thing to me, but all of a sudden it's deemed as this minuscule. They diminish you, and they're like, well, it's not really your job, and you're not really making money off of it. Therefore, it's just a little hobby, and you'll get over it like you're a kid. I'm kind of in this little midlife crisis of where do I go? I've just been kind of riding this ride and seeing which one takes off for me, but it's confusing because if someone sat here right now and asked me what is my purpose, I would say I don't know. I would give them a sufficient answer, a superficial, well, my goal in life is to help others, or my goal in life is to influence people into being a better human. My goal in life is to educate people on their health care and brain care and all these things, but down to the core of my actual purpose, my being on this earth, I could not tell you. I could not really give you an answer that is gonna feel good coming out of my mouth. And I feel like another thing I've definitely been struggling with is this idea of every action that I do is affecting something. And you may be sitting here thinking, yes, I do have anxiety. Can you tell? Because I worry and I chew on everything for way too long, and I freak myself out about it, and I hope that someone out there is exactly like me, or else you're gonna make me seem like I'm crazy. Find myself just always wondering if this is the right action for me, and it goes back to this theme of the video, which is like my purpose. I find myself always wondering, shoot, this big decision right now, what is going to happen? What is the chain effect? And what if I didn't do that decision in the past? And what if I didn't do that? I heard this quote, and when I say heard, I saw it on TikTok, because that is basically where I get all my information. I'm just a 22-year-old babe. I'm not a big philosophical guru. I got it from TikTok, okay? But I saw this thing, and I just told someone it today. I feel like I should tell you it, because it genuinely changed my perspective on my anxiety and the way I think about it. Some bestie out there said that anxiety is worry of the future or worry of your past, but it is never in this current moment. So why are you stressing out? I'm gonna repeat that one more time for you ladies. Anxiety is worry of the future or worry of the past, but it is never in this current moment. If I had a mic, I would drop it, because that changed my perspective on how much I worry about things and every single action I do, or just in general, like general anxiety about a lot of stuff. That really helped me, because I will take a deep breath and I will be like, wait, but that's not happening right now. So what's the big deal? And I'm going to give that little tidbit for free and let you put that in your back pocket for the next time you need it. But let's get back to what I was talking about. I think if you are someone who is trying to find your purpose and trying to figure it out, you will get there. Life is meant to happen the way it has already been planned out for you. And take it one step at a time, babe. And I promise you everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to line itself up. And keep going after your goals and aspirations and dreams, because maybe one day that dream will become your reality. Keep doing what is filling your soul right now. Whatever is doing that right now could be your purpose in this life. Even if right now you think, no way is this job meant for me, maybe it is giving you the mindset for where you need to be. Right now, if you jumped into that, you would not be ready for that plan and that purpose for your life. You need to go through the consequential steps that were laid out to be able to be the person for that role and that purpose, and to thrive in it and be completely overjoyed by doing it so well, because you already went through everything to be prepared. You cannot just jump to your purpose because you will have no idea what to do and you won't be ready. The key here is patience. And I know that sucks and that's horrible to hear, but I think at the same time, enjoy this kind of idling stage. I'm not saying this out of a place where I feel content and I feel happy. So I'm genuinely saying this out of a place where I'm also speaking it into myself because I also need to feel this, which is why I made this video. I'm in that right now. I'm in the in-between where I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do with my life, but I'm here and I'm doing what makes me happy, which is speaking to you right now. And I'm reading and I am drinking my kombucha. And I have a surprise date tonight, and honestly, this is all I could ask for right now. I'm gonna leave you with one little tidbit to kind of chew on. The whole premise of this book is about purpose and how a man feels when he felt like he was kind of just floating his whole life and drifting. You are in a place where you feel like you're drifting. This is definitely a book to pick up and just kind of think about, because at the end of the day, you are there for a reason and there is a purpose, and love, death, and life all are meant to be on this earth for a bigger meaning, and it is weaving up a bigger tapestry of this life, and you are playing a pivotal part in it. Even though there are millions and millions and millions of people on this earth, you are so stinking important. If you were not part of that tapestry, it would not be complete. The picture wouldn't be a picture. And I think that is such a heartwarming thing to feel, that at the end of the day, what you did had impact, whether you realize it or not. I just felt such an impact from this book. It was a good reminder, and I wanted to remind you all. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to this, and we are all in this big, beautiful world that we call our life together. I will hopefully see you all next video. If you love books and you love talking about books and you love seeing other people talk about books or read books, hit the subscribe button, because that is exactly what I do. But if you are just here because you saw it and you resonated with that, thank you for hanging out. I love you. Bye.